And live action for you this Saturday evening from the N-Power Championship featuring Leicester City and Reading, live here at the Walker Stadium on Sky Sports HD and also available Sky Mobile and Sky Player. And it's a new era here at Leicester City as well. It was taxing for taxing at Man City, but there is a new tie in English football. His name, Ayawat Ratsiaksorn, top to his friends. His father made his money in duty-free shops in Thailand with King Power. They are the shirt sponsors here at Leicester City, and they are the new power behind the throne as well. I don't think they'll be too thrilled by what they've seen so far. The table doesn't look good at this early stage. Leicester in the bottom three, Reading only just outside it. Doesn't get any better for Portsmouth, does it? Just 1 point from their 4 games so far. But for Leicester and Reading looking upwards, some way already from QPR, Cardiff and Ipswich, who all have 10 points in their first 4 games. Very good evening to you. It wasn't the start, was it, that either of these two sides would have been looking for this season? Leicester, remember, beaten playoff semi-finalists, losing to Cardiff on penalties last May. And for Reading, arguably the most improved side in the Championship after Christmas last season under Brian McDermott. Peter Beagrie is with us. What are we seeing then from these two then, Peter? Is it just a problem with their start, or is it more serious than that?
Well, both sides have had tough fixtures. I think it was the opening day fixtures that really, you know, that the fans are not happy with really against the less fancied sides. 2 defeats on the opening day for both the sides against Palace and Scunthorpe respectively. I think obviously with Paulo Sousa coming to Leicester, Dave, they're looking at the 6 goals conceded in the 2 games, and that's a cause for concern.
So much change here as well, isn't it, Peter, for Paulo Sousa, the 8th manager in, what, 3.5 years?
Yeah, absolutely, but you look at through the side and there is a continuation through there. It's a very strong side, direct reflection really to the opposition today, which is very, very young. And you look at both benches, particularly strong Leicester having the luxury of leaving Matty Fry and Andy King on the bench, and obviously there'll be 2 really pacey wingers on show today, Lloyd Dyer being one of them.
What will he give then, Peter?
Well, he's that extra dimension. He's really, really quick, but he's direct. You know, he backs people into the box and you can't touch him because he's got quick feet. And sometimes he operates on the right-hand side, predominantly left-footed, but it helps him to get shots on goal. A lot of people expected an awful lot of Reading after the way they finished last season, Peter. There's real class in this side, isn't there? And youth. Yeah, there is youth and pace, you know, they're very, very fluent. And that's really why Brian McDermott was put in charge, you know. He's had them as young kids and that they trust him, he trusts them, puts a lot of faith in them. And they like to play a lovely, fluent, open game of football. But against a side like Leicester, who are very strong, physical, tough set pieces, could be a key today.
And Leicester have home form in their favour as well. They've lost just once here in 2010 in the league. That, though, was against Reading as recently as March. Well, let's get across to our commentators today, get a full check on the teams. Don Goodman and Bill Leslie.
The Leicester second-half fight back at Leeds in the Carling Cup will, I'm sure, have influenced Paulo Sousa's thinking today when he named this lineup. Summer signing Michael LeMay starts his first league game for the club, and Paul Gallagher keeps his place from the win at Elland Road and makes his 50th appearance for the Foxes into the bargain. Lloyd Dyer is back after a couple of games out with a shoulder injury, and #1 keeper Chris Wheel injured his shoulder against Burnley in the last league match, so Conrad Logan starts his first league match since May and only his 2nd for Leicester in a year. With 9 players out on the treatment table yesterday, something of a last-minute head count for Reading. The good news for them is many have recovered, but a change in fullbacks required with injuries to Marcus Williams and Andy Griffin. Sean Cummings is brought in from the cold, starts his first game since last November, and Brynjar Gunnarsson, Reading's utility man, pressed into service at fullback. That aside, this is the same side that drew with Forest at home last weekend. Contrast in the strengths of the bench, as Peter Beagrie was saying, Andy King and Matty Fried in reserve, so too the emergency loan signing goalkeeper from Wolves, Carl Aikimi. Well, we're nearly ready to go here. Let's hear from the managers. Brian McDermott of Reading is with Dave Jones.
Brian, have performances been better than results so far for you?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we're looking forward to this game today. Fantastic stadium, really good place to play football, and we want to put on a real performance today.
How important is it getting that first win?
Yeah, it is. You know, there's a little bit of anxiousness around. You can smell that, but we need to get that first win. Whatever way it comes, we'll take it.
Have you reminded your players of what you achieved here back in March?
Yeah, we spoke about that. You know, we know we're well capable. Got good players. We'll try and pass the ball, and it's a great pitch to play on.
Thanks, Brian. Good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
Paolo, a disappointing start to the campaign, but what do you sense as the impact of that midweek Carling Cup win at Leeds has had on your players?
When we win, the impact it's always positive, but we can't forget it's a team. It's develop different ideas with different styles. The process of developing it with some ups and downs, and the result brings us convictions and confidence. We don't deserve only 1 point, and hopefully today we can do it. What I saw it the last 45 games against Leicester.
Paolo, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Always a tough act to follow, isn't it, Don? Nigel Pearson setting the bar really high here over the last 2 seasons. And by the way, best wishes to him. He's been taken ill today, but been unable really to hit the ground running, Leicester, for whatever reason.
Well, possibly a contrast in styles as well between Paulo Sousa and Nigel Pearson. First and foremost, wanted to get his teams very, very organised and play from there. So I think we'll probably see a little bit more pure football, if you like, from Leicester than they used to. Maybe it's just taking this team a little bit of time just to settle into that kind of a rhythm.
Well, here we are at the end of August and about to have a look at 2 of the Empower Championship's winless wonders. Coming into the weekend, 6 sides in this league yet to taste victory. After today's matches earlier on, that is now down to 5. Sheffield United and Gary Speed getting up and running with that win against Preston. And now these 2, Leicester in their familiar blue and Reading in their change strip of black, get a chance to really kick-start their seasons.
You often hear managers, don't you, say that they won't judge anything until at least sort of 10 games into the campaign, but let's not underestimate the desperation for these 2 teams to get that win.
Dyer took a sweep at that one and saw it blocked away pretty effectively in the end by Sean Cummings.
Well, I spoke about pure football, didn't I? It's a long free kick from the back up to big Stephen Howard, who we know is going to win his fair share. It fell to Lloyd Dyer. That'll be encouraging for Leicester.
Leicester's first corner comes inside the first minute of the match. Didn't catch that one right at all. And it's comfortably cleared away. Michael LeMay, the fullback, was the intended target.
Very well thought out, wasn't it? Everybody piled in. Leicester had sent the big boys up, and Michael LeMay had hung out on the edge of the area and probably should have been doing a little bit better than he actually did.
Well, they have options, don't they, to go direct like that to big Stephen Howard. Gallagher, the foil for the big man today, and so too Dyer, who looks in the mood, doesn't he, on his return from injury. Teed that one up beautifully towards the far post. They were queuing up Richie Wellens, absolutely furious. His teammate Danny Ngesson may even have gone in the way a bit, Don.
Well, the inquest continues, doesn't it? It's been a real whirlwind start from Leicester City. Work it well, Lloyd Dyer, pace to burn. He just decides to use his right foot. Gets that in there, and maybe Ngesson, you can see, just tries to pull out of it perhaps, but unsights and puts Richie Wellens off, and he's frustrated with that, isn't he?
Well, not noted as being a goal scorer, Richie Wellens, but he finished last season with a bit of a flurry, a penalty against Middlesbrough, and he's got 2 in 2 Carling Cup ties this season, including that really morale-boosting win up at Elland Road. They went behind, looked like it might be the same old story, but a second-half switch around in tactics has led to certainly more positive thoughts around the Walkers Stadium. It's not negative here, because with injuries mounting for Reading, the last thing they want is a problem for Matt Mills, their captain.
Well, that is the last thing Brian McDermott will need, isn't it? It may have been a little bit of a twist. Walking reasonably well. We'll just hope that he can run that off for his team. One of the other positives there for Leicester was Lloyd Dyer going on the outside onto his right foot. Very, very clever thinking, really, because most people will expect him to cut in all the time on his left. So to get the ball for the first time and go on the outside and use your right foot, that's just going to give Sean Cummings, Reading's left back, a little bit more to think about the rest of the afternoon.
LeMay, the Dutchman. Oakley, experienced heartbeat of this Leicester City side. Heartbreaking penalty shootout agony in South Wales provided the final note for Leicester City's season Although there have been changes in the boardroom and in the manager's office here, the core of this side very much remains the same.
First opportunity for Reading to try and get the ball down and string a few passes together.
You mentioned how Leicester have struggled to pick up where they left off. When Brian McDermott first took over from Brendan Rodgers, relegation was the biggest fear. By the time they were approaching the last month or so of the season, they were still harbouring outside hopes of the playoffs.
They did an absolutely terrific job, didn't they? I think they were the form horses towards the end, weren't they? Lost only 4 of the last 20 games of last season, and that's why the start that they've made somewhat of a surprise.
I was interested to hear Matt Mills talking in the week and saying perhaps they started to believe the hype and thought they were a little bit better than they were. Certainly got a rude awakening on day 1 against Scunthorpe. That seemed to really rattle them.
Yeah, well, it would, wouldn't it, really, with respect. Scunthorpe, we know that they can rattle cages at Blandford Park at home. Pick up some terrific results there, don't they? They've had a great win today. But away from home, with respect to Scunthorpe, most of the teams that have got aspirations to do anything in the Championship would expect to beat Scunthorpe on their own patches. And that defeat on the opening day certainly rattled Reading.
Well, there's one of their form horses, Jimmy Kebe, the scorer on this ground last season. The last time Reading won away was here. Equally, the last time in Championship action that Leicester lost here at home.
We've got a lot of dangerous players out there with pace to burn. Reading possessed Kebe, McAnuff. Leicester possessed Lloyd Dyer and Danny and Gesson on the other wing. I would think both teams would be trying to get the ball as much as they can to those kind of players.
Here's LeMay. He's lost out, though, to last season's top scorer for Reading, Gylfi Sigurdsson. Oakley tidies up but gives it away. Brian Howard now for Reading. Oakley redeems himself and then some. Plenty in that challenge, wasn't there? Brynjar Gunnarsson. The assistant on the far side is flagging.
Just struggled in the early stages to get the service into the Shane Long, and when you're playing that lone striking role, the service is of paramount importance. It has to give him a chance to hold the ball up and bring the other players, the support players, into play. And so far, service hasn't been good enough from Reading.
Gallagher putting pressure on, not giving the defender Alex Pearce time to settle. With the international window just around the corner, sort of fragmented this start to the season. You mentioned earlier, Don, our managers will look at the first 10 games and then take stock, but it certainly provides a neatly packaged first series of games, doesn't it, to have a look at. More on that in a moment. Here's Wellens, fine burst from midfield. The end product just lacking at the crucial moment.
Well, it's brilliant movement, isn't it? But the one thing Richie Wellens doesn't possess is searing pace, and he was never ever going to be able to run away from the backtracking Reading midfielders and defenders. Positive situation though, wasn't it? He recognised that there was an opportunity to burst forward, times it to absolute perfection. And he can't quite run away, and he gets the ball a little bit stuck under his feet.
Gallagher locking horns with Pearce again. The referee saw nothing wrong with it, so Reading can try and get a little bit of confidence-building possession under their belt. Howard loses out. The Foxes in blue have it back, and Gesson, Howard. He's not going to get the free kick he was hoping for. Oakley wins it back, smuggles it through to Danny and Gesson, who'll try to get away here. And use that pace we know he possesses to find Gallagher.
And that's what Leicester want him to do. Try and get around the outside. Brynjar Gunnarsson.
It's only a nudge in the back there from Shane Long on the Portuguese João Marino. The Leicester City fans will have watched him play the first 5 games or so and go, Who's Teixeira? Well, the Football League have had a word. Marino, like Kaká, is a nickname from the Portuguese-born player. And they didn't want it on the shirt, so that's his official title, Teixeira, but still wants to be known as Marino, so we'll oblige that for him.
Have they nothing better to do?
They call it the silly season, don't they? LeMay. Long. All the strengths of Shane Long's game, and he does possess many at this level. He's looking to get a few more goals than the 6 he managed in the whole of last season. Sigurdsson, the man who blazed a trail for Reading in that department. Hobbs away. Good number into the box though there, Don, for Reading.
They've served note of their intent to try and attack.
And Howard might get the chance to do just that here.
Joby McAnuff on the left side here is absolutely furious. If Brian Howard had spotted him, he would have simply rolled him in, and he would have had a much clearer sight of goal. He was always coming under pressure, Brian Howard there. Joby McAnuff still screaming at him in the middle, and he looks to the heavens because he knows it's a great situation. He's in acres on the edge of the area. When it comes, look at Joby McAnuff, help it onto him there, just to the left, and you can see McAnuff's reaction.
Well, he's come a-roaming now, Joby McAnuff.
Talented player. Reading need to get the ball to, needs to be involved from a Reading perspective.
He's one of those players for whoever he pulls on the strip ball. When he plays well, the side tend to play well, but consistency, perhaps a frustration for managers he's had, both present and past. Hobbs, joint player of the year for last season here at the Walker Stadium, along with Andy King, who somewhat surprisingly is on the bench here. Dyer now reckons he has the beatings of Cummings. Not this time though.
Did well, the young left back, didn't he?
And Long certainly pulling the shirt of João Moreno.
Well, he knows already that he's going to have his hands full, doesn't he? The ball comes to Lloyd Dyer, but he reads that Dyer wants to go inside on that favourite left foot. Defends the situation very well.
And we saw him play almost 12 months ago in front of the Sky Sports cameras when he was on loan at West Bromwich Albion. That didn't last too long, as he moved to Reading, really cemented his place either under Brendan Rodgers, who knew him from his time at Chelsea, or indeed under Brian McDermott. But due to the injuries, he's thrown into the firing line here. Mills made sure he got there ahead of Howard. It's going to be a good old-fashioned centre-forward, centre-half battle. Usually is when Stephen Howard's around. Shows a touch of finesse there, though, to pick out Dyer. The cutback from Dyer and the cover from Pearce.
Well, he looks alive, doesn't he, Lloyd Dyer? Lovely little give and go to get himself in behind the Reading defence there. Early encouraging signs for Leicester from him.
Gylfi Sigurdsson for Kebe. Getting the old chalk on his boots out on that right, and now meaning business as he cuts in field. And winning a corner for Reading to boot.
Once again, this time it's Sigurdsson on the edge of the area that had his hands on his head because he had pulled off into all kinds of space. And it is about that decision-making when you get yourself in them areas. Should you try and shoot? Are you aware of teammates in better positions? And so far, Reading have had 2 really good opportunities that they haven't taken.
And Howard with the corner, and a comfortable clearance dealt with by Moreno. Brian Howard, and the glance from Moreno took it really off the head of his central defensive colleague Jack Hobbs.
Well, he had to go for it, didn't he? But no talking behind, perhaps. It's not the kind of ball that you can afford to leave as a centre-half. Take no chances.
Well, there still must be an element of a getting-to-know-you process between the new signing and Jack Hobbs. Moreno using his head well again. Still some clearing to be done for Leicester, and who knows, maybe some breaking. Not sure who Moreno spotted there. This is Jem Karachan down inside the Leicester box, Tom.
Yeah, Conrad Logan waving frantically to the bench. It's a very, very heavy collision. The ball went high up in the air. Jem Karachan bravely comes in. As Danny Nguesson goes up, it's the landing, I think, maybe. It's very, very heavy. He just falls awkwardly. Maybe catches Nguesson. Just wonder if Danny Nguesson's arm, purely unintentionally, but his arm may just have caught Jem Karachan, given that the physio's looking at his head. Danny Nguesson jumps. Yes, it's that left arm just under Jem Karachan's right eye. There it is, there's the contact, purely accidental. Referee sees it as that. You can see Colin Webster in the perfect position. The painful one.
And one that requires treatment. Just to go back, Don, to a moment ago, you talked about the Reading opportunities that they failed to capitalise on. Is that the mark of a side lacking confidence?
I'm not really sure. I just think that, you know, maybe you see that, well, look at the shiner he's got there, but you see the higher you go up through the levels, when you get in that final third, the decision making is better more often than not. And that's the situation there that Reading have found themselves in, and a couple of players who are quality players maybe chose the wrong option at the wrong time.
It's almost getting bigger before our eyes, isn't it, that black eye for Jem Karachan.
It was brave because it was a ball that he was never really going to win.
And after the results earlier, Reading just marginally outside the bottom three, even though it's still very early on in the season. Leicester, courtesy of the 1 point that they've picked up so far, just one off the bottom, level on points with Portsmouth, who yet again failed to get the spark that they required to kickstart their season today.
It's going to be a sensational league, isn't it, the Championship? Very, very unpredictable matches.
Cummings now for Reading. Howard rode the challenge of LeMay. Moreno, who looks a composed customer at the back there, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. That was a nice piece of composure, wasn't it, from the centre half? He's put his head in where he's needed to. He's tackled hard when he's needed to, and there's the composure we saw.
And here comes Bruno Berner now for Leicester. Gallagher. Howard. Didn't stick, but doesn't look like it's going to matter.
Reading did well. They got numbers back very quickly to thwart that situation. Just for a second, they looked a little bit open.
Now they have the ball back. Gallagher bounced off McAnuff. What a run from Kebe. And very nearly a pass to match.
Well, that's a shame. Just an overhit pass, but there in a flash, you've seen why Reading need to get that ball out to Joby McAnuff more often. Lovely footwork, trickery and skill.
Dyer. Lovely first touch, and still he's going. Lloyd Dyer, still going. Dyer. Can he finish it?
Well, he had a few opportunities to pull the trigger. When he controls this, there he can take the shot on, decides to keep coming. Maybe looking to get in. Just a couple of little nicks on the ball by Reading defenders. The most important one comes from Gunnarsson, doesn't it? The right back just takes the pace out of the strike.
It doesn't take long into the season until people start dusting off the statistics about The worst start to a season for however long. As far as Leicester are concerned, it's 9 years. 1 point return from a possible 9. Danny and Gessen to put a better sheen on things.
It's a decent effort, isn't it? The angle was always against him, but he stays nice and strong here, doesn't he, under pressure from Gunnarsson. And when he gets him faced up, he's always going to take him on. He gets the strike away well, but good goalkeeping positioning from Adam Federici, wasn't it?
He's already a pretty strong contender for goalkeeping howler of the season, hasn't he, Adam Federici? Last weekend against Nottingham Forest. If you missed it, he kicked the ball into the back of his defender and put it on a plate for Rob Earnshaw.
Who'd be a goalkeeper, right? He was in the goals in midweek, wasn't he? Matthew Mills.
In flamboyant style as well. A little back flick he got. There's one of his 2. It's like he's in the mood again. His arms up. Howard to deliver. It is Mills. It's just wide though.
Well, it's a waste, pure and simple. He knows that he should be hitting the target here. He's way, way above Moreno, and he's got to head that back across the goal. And he doesn't. You'll see a better angle here. If he just heads that back across Conrad Logan, I think he scores. Doesn't get the contact he was after.
Well, to illustrate to you as to how rare his goals are, he did get 2 in that defeat against Northampton in the Carling Cup. Those 2, a couple of only 4 he's got for the club in 34 appearances, so they don't come around too often.
I think he should have added to that tally right there. Real good opportunity.
In this opening 20 minutes, there have been openings at either end, both for Leicester and for Reading. Small heart-in-mouth moment there for both Cummings and Federici.
I tell you, he knew exactly what he was doing.
I'm guessing. Here's Karachan. You can excuse him if his passing's a little awry for a while. Knock he's taken.
That's a good one, isn't it?
Brian McDermott's analysis of Reading's problems so far this season, he said everybody makes mistakes. Our problem is that every time we do make them, we get punished for them. And that is why they've only been able to get 2 points from a possible 9 at the start of the season. Very nearly got it through to Long there. Moreno's recovered, or has he? Here's Kebe.
Should have shot.
Chance here for Gylfi Sigurdsson. And Reading lead. Last season's top scorer.
Well, I told you Jimmy Kebe should have shot, didn't I? I thought he should have taken the shot on earlier, the wide player. But once he doesn't, what he does do is he stays calm because he gets closed out. Just a long ball, and Sigurdsson does well. Shane Long does even better because he puts Moreno under pressure and then nicks the ball. It falls for Kebe. Thought he should have took the strike, but he delayed it, pulled it into a dangerous area, and that is what you call composure personified. Great first touch with the outside of the right boot, commits the keeper and dinks it over him. It's an absolutely beautiful goal by a very, very confident and a very, very good player. You can see why he scored all those goals last season.
Showing all the signs that he's going to be right up there again for Reading this. One of his goals, the late winner from the penalty spot on this ground last season.
Colin Webster does Reading a little turn in the build-up to that goal, because Moreno there was pulling all over Shane Long once he had lost possession, and the referee played a really good advantage. say, I think Reading have been the better team, and the lead that they have is just about warranted.
That went out before McAnuff could cut inside.
Well, referees are much maligned, aren't they, in modern-day football? But Moreno dillies and dallies and pulls Shane Long to the floor. That's where the advantage is played, and it's really good refereeing. Still a lot to do for Sigurdsson, and he does it, doesn't he? But let's give the referee credit for that.
And as far as the defending goes, there's a fine line between being cool and composed under pressure and just being a little too nonchalant, and probably in the opening half of this first half we've seen a little bit of both from Moreno.
Spot on.
Reading led at home last week against Nottingham Forest and were pegged back. Can they hold on this time? Gallagher for Leicester.
Well, Stephen Howard's going mad in the middle because he's pulled to the far post. Gallagher's in all kinds of space on the ball, should be looking up, seeing the big fella, seeing where he is, and standing the ball up for him to attack.
I'm guessing. And Burner. The Frenchman and Gesson again. Now Wellens. Here's Dyer. Just ran into traffic, and Gallagher outside him.
That's another example of the wrong decision in the final third of the pitch, isn't it? It's safe to say Reading have looked the more composed team out there at the moment. Got the ball down and passed it much better than Leicester. Leicester haven't passed the ball anywhere as much as I thought they may. Comparing them to Paulo Sousa's Swansea last season, who really did get the ball down and pass it for fun. Haven't really seen that from Leicester so far here this evening.
Dyer. Cummings is with him. Gallagher and Howard getting into position in the centre, and Pearce doing well to make sure it didn't get to them.
Well, he looks Leicester's best bet so far, doesn't he, Lloyd Dyer? Every time he gets the ball, he's asking questions of Sean Cummings, Reading's left back.
And when there's a Leicester set piece and they're the likes of Hobbs and Howard, there's always danger if the delivery's good enough. Glanced off Lamé.
Not sure whether Lamé actually got in the way of Stephen Howard there. The communication.
Wellens pulling the strings from deep. Well, similar story in many ways to what happened in the Carling Cup at Ellen Road. A slightly lukewarm first half performance and trailing, heading towards half-time. He switched it round tactically up in Yorkshire. Is he going to do the same here, I wonder? He's certainly got reinforcements on the bench. Yeah. Andy King, Matty Fryatt, to name but a few.
He won't like that, you know, the manager. Too many long balls coming from defence, looking for Stephen Howard to attack, but not accurate long balls.
LeMay's header. So too that of Gallagher, but he was coming back from an offside position.
It was a real fortress, wasn't it, for Leicester last season? here at the Walker Stadium. He only suffered 4 defeats out of the 23 games, picked up a whole heap of points to make it that once more this season.
And 76 points, enough to cement them a playoff place last season. 45 of those came on this ground. And the foundation for their League One Championship success the season before, very much based on strong home form. It's going to be vital for whatever they do this season, that they can maintain and repeat that here this year. Last time out here at home, a draw against Middlesbrough, a match that they could easily have won. A goal by Andy King ruled out, which was a pretty tight offside call. Reading enjoying themselves more here on their opponent's home patch.
They are, and if you're Reading, you must sense an opportunity to get another goal and give yourself a more comfortable lead than you already have, because they look very dangerous every time they come forward.
One thing Reading have been unable to do in their opening 3 league games this season is score more than 1 goal. 1 in each, but just the 1.
It's surprising, isn't it? Because they scored plenty last season. I think only the teams in the playoffs scored more. So we do know that they are a team that are more than capable of scoring goals at this level.
Many of the same faces this season for Reading, although they're further having to cut their cloth for what is now their 3rd season back at Championship level. Reduced payments from the Premier League as well. 9 players out of the door. In some capacity, some out on loan, some permanent moves.
Only 2 in.
Yep.
Just shows you sign of the times.
Dyer. Always determined to drive into the box. Jimmison knows he can't take any risks in an area like that.
There aren't lots of positives from a Leicester perspective, but this fellow Lloyd Dyer is one of them. Every time he's causing Reading problems. I have to credit Leicester because they're making sure he sees plenty of the football.
Over the head of Hobbs, and Shane Long can clear it away for Reading. Moreno, main villain of the piece as far as the Reading goal was concerned.
Well, Reading now just, we praised Colin Webster, just having a little word, because Jimmy Kebe had broken away free there. He had been allowed to continue.
Colin Webster, the referee, would think would have an easier task on his hand today. Well, he took charge of the potentially fiery Leeds against Millwall game last weekend and managed to get through that without showing any yellow cards.
There's a referee that likes to keep his cards in his pocket if he possibly can. And I applaud that.
Yep. Well, the lack of atmosphere here and the lack of noise from the home fans will be music to the Reading ears. They've taken the sting out of Leicester. Carlo Sosa coming in and insisting that his project is a 2-year one. Within 2 years he will have them into the Premier League. That's his aim. That's a great touch by Gallagher. Here's Dyer, just overrun it.
Well, he knows. He's got his arms up waving for a penalty, but deep down in his heart he knows his control and his touch let him down badly there.
Super little flick though from Paul Gallagher, wasn't it, to set him on his way. Here is Gallagher now, crowded out this time.
Well, he has been bright. He was let himself down with his first touch here. Stephen Howard goes up, flicks it on. It's a great touch from Paul Gallagher. And Lloyd Dyer, it wasn't a great touch from him. It gets away from him, and Sean Cummings comes across, blocks off his path, and that's good defending.
McAnuff. No way beyond the experienced Dutchman, Michael LeMay. Colin Webster taking no chance, just checking in case it's a head injury.
He was very close to the ball and it was poked towards him. I wonder whether it's hit him in a place that he would rather it hadn't. A bit winded.
Suffice to say, it is not a head injury. Nice glance by Wellens. Should be Federici's.
To be a foul. Colin Webster again just waiting to see if Leicester gained any advantage. Stephen Howard gets his body in between Matthew Mills and he'll argue the centre half that he was backing in, but it's a foul all day long, isn't it?
And it's always the same when Stephen Howard's around. He'll win a few, he'll lose a few. He's won that one. Just over 10 minutes left on this first half. Can Leicester bite back now to that Sigurdsson strike? Fully chipped over Conrad Logan. Gallagher will take this and try and disguise it to Nguesson when it all goes wrong. Overhit and offside.
It's easy from up here, but it was blatantly obvious what Reading were going to do there. They were holding a high line, they were trying to edge out, and they just about get out in time to catch Nguesson offside. But it's a very, very dangerous game to play.
Well, it's the return of La Liga tonight. First game for you, Sky Sports HD 1-1, Malaga against Valencia. See it from 7 o'clock. And then Sevilla, who just missed out on qualification to the Champions League, travel to Levante. That's the second offering tonight from 9, same channels. Moreno. Gallagher. Cut out by Cummings. LeMay. Had to settle for the throw, the handball that the supporters were after. LeMay. And it is drifting away. Well, there's the new owner alongside Milan Mandaric, Ayawat Raksiakson. Top to his friends. I think most people will probably be calling him that. Yet to be ratified
right.
by the Football League, by the way. In case you might have seen reports in the week, we've spoken to the Football League today, and it is just paperwork that needs to be processed. Takes a while to dot the I's and cross the T's, but it should happen in due course. Dyer will take the corner for Leicester.
Well, I thought the officials had given a throw-in, actually. So...
disappointing delivery. Not very ordinary when you consider what was required from Dyer. LeMay. Gallagher unable to work with that.
You can see the players, the supporters, all just getting a little bit frustrated with proceedings here. A bit of work to be done for Paulo Sousa at half-time. His team not finding any kind of rhythm or fluency yet.
They managed to get the goals required in the Carling Cup, but they have dried up for Leicester in the league. Paulo Sousa's Swansea last season noted for good football up until the last third, but they're the lowest scorers, although they finished only marginally outside the playoffs, the lowest scorers in the whole of the Championship.
It was remarkable, wasn't it? They did have one of the best defences, though, didn't they?
Well, as Newcomb Leicester breached at the back and unable to find a way through at the other end. Haven't scored since the opening day in the league. Since that, as it turned out, futile fight back at Crystal Palace. Gesson. Moreno. Actually played in midfield against Leeds in that midweek win.
You can see why he's more than capable of doing that.
He's a footballer, and that's what landed him in trouble a bit. Here's Howard.
He's always a little bit ambitious on Stephen Howard's weaker left foot, but maybe a little bit frustrated with some of the service he's had, so he elects to shoot. Doesn't really get any power behind it, the big fella. A game littered with masses of attempts. The 3 saves that Federici has had to make from Leicester's 4 attempts, all routine, pretty routine. Can't remember any of them being difficult. That'll disappoint Paulo Sousa.
Lobs away. On Brian Gesson. It's fallen for Howard. Wellens. A confident first half from Sean Cummings when you consider he hasn't seen much first-team football. Best part of a year. Upended by Wellens there. Sign of frustration perhaps from the combative midfielder. Certainly little murmurs of discontent around us in the stands, Don.
Oh, there are, yeah. There are, and the players themselves just seem to be getting a little bit frustrated with each other. Just a moment or two ago, Richie Wellens was trying to play a ball through to Lloyd Dyer. He'd come inside. They weren't on the same wavelength, and they were both a little bit frustrated with each other.
There may be a signal in there somewhere. Howard delivers. It's headed goalwards by Shane Long, but not with the power to beat Logan.
Really the pass, more the direction. He rises really well, doesn't he, Shane Long? Just nods it down, but it's straight at Conrad Logan either side, and it would have been much more difficult for the keeper.
And Gesson trying to dance his way through. Here's Wellens. LeMay. Through to Howard. And again, little green shoots of promise come to nothing for the home side.
And again, it's because it's a poor decision in the final third of the pitch.
Wellens. Offside.
It comes to nothing anyway, but it had to be pretty close. Daniel Gesson, a very, very quick player. Richie Wellens comes inside and he knows that is tight, and there's a player in the middle of your screen there that may just have been playing Daniel Gesson onside there.
And he's certainly in favour with Paulo Sousa, largely on the fringes in the closing stages of last season under Nigel Pearson, the fleet-footed Frenchman. With McAnuff. Able to get his shot away.
He keeps coming inside, doesn't he? Always looking to come inside and get strikes away. Maybe McAnuff may be wise to try and mix it up a little bit more.
Wellens. LeMay. Howard. Oakley spinning it out for Bernard and unable to pick him out.
Two boys in midfield, Matt Oakley and Richie Wellens, two decent passers of the ball, aren't they? Neither of them have really been able to get on the ball and spray the passes around and dictate the play like you'd want them to do so.
It's been a frustrating start to the season for Reading so far, and this is probably among the best 45 minutes that they've managed to put together. The formative stages of this new N-Power Championship campaign. Whether they can see the job through for the second successive season is another matter.
It's all come about through real good pressure on the ball from Reading all over the pitch. Both wide players, the centre forward and the midfielder, backing them up. Closed Leicester out there and won the ball back for Reading.
McAnuff well to get the ball in, seemed to catch Leicester by surprise as he did. 4 added minutes. We did have quite a break for the injury to Karachan, you might remember. Here's Howard. Royals tend to like fox hunting, don't they? And these ones are enjoying their trip here. Oakley. They need a spark, don't they, Leicester?
Yeah, they do. I think Paulo Sousa just wishing the next couple of minutes away, really, to get them into that dressing room. Fresh instructions, a bit of a shakedown. They can only improve, Leicester, you would think.
They're displaying some of the symptoms like they're running out of ideas. That spark might come in the form of a little bit of luck, the break, the rub of the green. It's certainly not going their way at the moment, as you can probably hear from the reaction from the home supporters.
The quality of the passing leaving quite a bit to be desired so far in the first half.
Kebe. The goal scorer Sigurdsson. Long is in the middle.
Well, really another great opportunity for Reading. It's already shown how good he is in the air, Shane Long. And Shane Long, his eyes must have lit up. He makes his way into the middle and the ball comes in. He's got the run on the defender and he really fancies it, but he heads it against the back of Moreno. Moreno doesn't know anything about this, and that's why Shane Long is frustrated.
Well, it might be going according to plan for Reading in many ways, but this problem they have with their fullbacks at the moment seems to be a cursed position. Brynjar Gunnarsson, who's a makeshift one because of injuries to Marcus Williams and to Andy Griffin, both unfit to play here. Now he's had to go off, and on comes Mikel Antonio. Is he going to fill in at fullback, because he's a winger by trade, really? Gallagher with the Leicester kick. Then they've done well to prevent it getting through to Leicester target number 1, Stephen Howard.
Yeah, that's a poor clearance, isn't it? Given a needless corner. And this really will be the last throw of the dice. You would think Leicester would just put the ball into the danger area here and attack it.
Too much on it for Howard. Oakley. And Gesson's up, but he's offside again.
Oh, yet more frustration for Leicester. He comes in. They hold a really good line, don't they? And he has just strayed. You can see it's a good decision by the assistant referee. It's also very good defending from Reading, very disciplined defending.
Two sides without a win coming into this. And as you can hear from the reaction around the Walkers, it is the guests who are in front, courtesy of Gylfi Sigurdsson. Reading lead 1-0 at the break.
The murmurings of discontent just a game and a half into the season, but they haven't seen their team score here yet this season. Peter Bigrey is with us. We'll get his thoughts on that first 45 minutes in just a moment. But it was the man from Iceland, the coolest player on the pitch, to put Reading 1-0 in front. First time this season, there are two games coming to you on Super Sunday. Bolton Birmingham kicks things off, 1 o'clock, Sky Sports HD 1 and 1. Two sides have had a good start to the season. Aston Villa and Everton, 3:30, Sky Sports HD 1 and 1. And also from Scotland, St Mirren and Hibs kicks off at 2 o'clock on Sky Sports HD 4 and 4. And more ways than ever before to keep across everything that happens on Sky Sports HD with your iPhone, your iPad, and on the internet, skysports.com/anywhere to keep up to date. Not sure that Leicester fans wanted to keep up to date what they've seen here so far. They trailed to that 1-0 against Reading. Peter Bigrey is watching with us. Peter, if you just bought this club, would you have liked what you'd seen?
Not particularly, although I think they dominated from a possession point of view, but it was a little bit laboured in the build-up. You know, they had threats out wide, but far too often the ball didn't come quickly enough. And we've seen with Reading playing a different system. And even though they've got one man up front, they flood bodies forward. And I think Leicester need a little bit to be more dangerous. They need more bodies in the box. Super
goal from Gylfi Sigurdsson. We know all about him from last season. Got 20 goals last year. How much credit for Colin Webster, the referee, in the build-up, though?
Yeah, it was a fantastic advantage, because we see Shane Long here just gets in and around with a low centre of gravity. Moreno, who's practicing his WWE there, wrestles into the ground. But great vision by Kebe. We said there's one man up front, which is Long, but give it Sigurdsson in the box, arriving late. It was a great first touch, and then a fantastic finish with a little dink. But Kebe does particularly well, because there's three bodies in front of Sigurdsson to have the vision and awareness when there's three people around him to pick that run out there. And there's the beauty of a midfield runner.
Is it? This is just quality.
No, this is quality. I mean, he's really renowned for his free kicks and his set piece and everything, but there's so much more to his game, as we can see there. And that's a player who's took the confidence from a fantastic goal-scoring season last year, under the influence of McDermott as well, where he's absolutely flourished, into this season as well.
You picked out Lloyd Dyer at the start, and he did prove to be the thorn in Reading's side on that right-hand side.
Yeah, you know, we said about him driving inside. Here he is, taking men on and that. He's very, very brave. Even if he's not having the best of games, he'll want to get on the ball, he'll want to try and get involved, and he can go inside and outside. And the beauty of a player who's playing on the opposite flank when he is left-footed there, he can come in and get shots away, but they're keeping the full-back guessing, and he's looking to think he's going to check on his left foot. That's why he's allowed him a yard on the outside, and he's using his right foot. Tremendous. He's been at the heart of everything that's been good about Leicester's play, and also driving into the box from out wide as well, which you want for your opposite winger.
He thought he should have had a penalty right at the end then. Did you agree?
He would have been very, very fortunate to get a penalty there, Dave. Yeah, definitely.
Why is that not a foul in the box when someone comes across, knocks you on the floor?
Well, his first touches took the ball, you know, out of his natural path, and the fullback is actually focused on the ball, and he doesn't change his line at all to come into contact with Dyer. It's the opposite, so that's why Mr. Webster's got it absolutely spot on.
He's had a good first half. So too have Reading. They lead at the break by that 1-0. And there is the new owner. I wonder what he's made of all this booze to greet their team off at half-time. They certainly hope for better. They expect better in the second half. Football first tonight, game of the day, 8:25, Sky Sports HD 2 and 2, your first chance to see the Premier League action from today. Supercuts of all 5 games that have taken place: Blackburn, Arsenal, Blackpool, Fulham, Chelsea, Stoke, Spurs, Wigan and Wolves, Newcastle from 10:15. Sky Sports HD 2 and 2 via the red button. And of course, skysports.com/anywhere for information on all the different ways you can keep across the Sky Sports live action. Well, there is top. with Milan Mandaric, and they haven't been top, have they? They've been second best in that first half, Leicester City. Ayot Rakson to give him his full title. He looked excited, didn't he? Got very into the game. He thought maybe Lloyd Dyer should have had a penalty, but it hasn't happened for his new Leicester City team thus far, and the Walker Stadium crowd still await their first home goal of the season. Will it come in this second half? We'll find out with Don Goodman and Bill Leslie.
Well, yeah, Dave, unless they can turn it around in the second half, Tops boys will be joint bottom of this Empire Championship table, along with Portsmouth, with just 1 point on the board from the opening salvo of matches. But they do have 45 minutes to put it right, and where they were lacklustre in the first period, you would expect them, Don, to put it right in the second.
Well, I think Paulo Sousa will be demanding more intensity in his players' movement, better quality in the passing, particularly into the front players, and take it from there. It has to get better for Leicester.
Well, Paulo Sousa in his third job in English football, Queen's Park Rangers, Swansea, and now here just 1.5 matches into his home tenure as manager here. Sees Long crossing well and LeMay chest back. He'll realise that patience doesn't run long. Booed off at half-time, just 1.5 matches in.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it, football? I mean, they overachieved last season, if anything. They'd just come up from League One, got themselves in the playoffs, and a game and a half into the new season at home, they're being booed off. I can't agree with it.
Well, first minute of this second period, some defending to do. First Reading corner of the second half, and it's dealt with well enough by LeMay. Karachan back in. Looks like he's gone back to fullback, Don. That late change in the first half.
No, Joby McAnuff has gone back to fullback. He's just coming over to take the throw in now, and that's an obvious area that you would say, if you were Leicester City, get the ball to Danny and Gesson and get at Joby McAnuff. He's not a natural defender, wants to go forward, doesn't he? Let's see whether Leicester work it out.
And if you missed that change late on in the first half, Brynjar Gunnarsson, we understand it's a hamstring injury for him. He was filling in at fullback anyway. Michail Antonio, who some of you might remember on loan at Southampton last season, pretty effectively as well. Scored in their Johnston's Paint Trophy final victory at Wembley. He's on in his preferred position, which means that, as Don was explaining, McAnuff has dropped back. Here's the explosive pace of Dyer. And his reward is a corner.
Well, in that regard, the theme from the first half continues for Leicester. Lloyd Dyer looking sharp and looking dangerous every time he gets the ball. Got an early set piece. They've sent the big fellas up from the back. They've got Stephen Howard. They've got to get better quality into that area.
And they've got to test a Reading side that have been notoriously brittle, not just this season, but last on the road as well. Gallagher will deliver. Howard predictably the man closest to it. Lloyd Dyer. Wellens going to slide it into Dyer. Cummings trying to shepherd it out. Dyer nearly stealing it away. Good pressure by Leicester. Gallagher. Burner couldn't get that.
I wonder if Paul Gallagher got a whisper from the assistant who said, if you play it, I'll flag you for offside. So he just let it run out, didn't he? That's the only thing that I can think happened there. The flag doesn't go up as this ball is played. There's the offside. It's a close one, isn't it? But I can only think the assistant referee says, if you touch that, I'm going to stick the flag up.
On by Howard, and the flag is up there for offside. Some of the Leicester supporters thought that a penalty had been awarded.
Well, he's just recognised that, Paul Gallagher. He didn't really know why he hadn't got a penalty for that. It's flicked, it's helped up, and he goes to the wrong side of the defence. Clear offside.
Well, it hasn't gone their way. A couple of offside decisions, but it's more like it from Leicester. More urgency. I'm sure more of what Brian McDermott would be expecting or have warned his side against in this second period. You can't imagine they'll have it as easy again.
He will know that. He would have made that categorically clear to his team at half-time.
good improvisation from Howard, but never looked like it was going to go in.
To get better service into him, haven't they? To get the ball out wide, better quality crosses into the box. You know, if you do that, he'll get on the end of them.
Interesting that Paulo Sousa elected to stick with his starting 11, resisting the temptation that many of the supporters around us were talking about at half-time. Matty Fryer, Andy King, the names on their lips.
And there they are. And I think that if things don't change over the course of the next 10-15 minutes, changes will be made in Leicester.
This is the now fullback McAnuff. Cummings. And Kebe. Neatly disguised ball to Long. We go for goal. Logan shouldn't have been beaten at his near post, and indeed wasn't.
Again, for me, it's the wrong option. Shane Long's got lots and lots of support. Needs to be getting a quality ball across the face of the goal there. As he cuts inside, he's never going to score from there. Angle's always against him.
A pair of 1-1 draws thus far for Reading has given them their points. At Portsmouth when they had to come from behind, at home to Forest when they were pegged back courtesy of that Adam Federici mistake. A slip at the crucial moment from Michail Antonio. Former non-league player with Tooting and Mitcham. That's the sort of ball that Howard will like to attack. Oakley. And Leicester neatly working it to Lloyd Dyer. LeMay on the outside. Only one thing in Dyer's mind. Oh, fabulous! Quite simply fabulous! Lloyd Dyer sets the Walkers alight, and it is a sensational equaliser.
Well, I wonder what that celebration's all about. He's got his finger to his lips, he's holding his hands to his ears, and I think he's having a little dig at the home supporters. How dare you boo us off at half-time? Just a game and a half into the home season. It's not right, and this is aimed at them, but this is pure brilliance. And he's been the man for Leicester all evening, and that is a super strike. One thing in his mind, cuts in, keeps coming, and he doesn't get closed down, and he takes full advantage of the space that he's afforded. A really good strike, and it's the pace that takes the ball past Adam Federici, and there's the celebration. Be quiet.
Well, is that enough to get the Leicester family as one? It's certainly enough to change the feel of the place. And a familiar scoreline, as we were just saying, for Reading, 1-1. Leicester, their first home goal of the season, only their second game in the league, but that's better. And we said they needed a spark, and goodness me, did they get it from, has to be said, their star of the first half.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the noise. Why wasn't this noise heard from the first whistle? Supporters have got no idea how much they can influence the feel of players on a pitch when they really get behind them. Been here many, many times and heard this crowd very, very vocal in favour of the team. They haven't been that so far tonight, until now.
As you saw, there's movement on the bench as well as more animation in the stands. Matty Fryer is getting stripped and ready for action. On by Wellens, run by Oakley, marshalled by Karacan.
Instructions for Matty Fryer. Very, very capable player at this level, as we've seen. We're hoping and praying he can produce a little bit of magic.
In the longer term, Dom, it's a really important spell for his career. He's 24 now. Now he could benefit from a fully fit season playing at this level.
Very much so. He's shown, hasn't he, that he's capable of scoring goals. He's had very unfortunate injuries throughout his short career so far. Just needs a real good run at it.
There's a steep learning curve when Leicester were relegated from the Championship 3 years ago. Went down to League One with them. Stormed the goal-scoring charts down there. 13 goals in all competitions, an injury-ravaged season last season. And here he comes on. Last bit of instruction from the two-time European Cup winner, current Leicester City manager Paulo Sousa. Howard.
Never really had that fully under control. And in his striking range, did he, Brian Howard? As this ball drops, it's just getting away from him, and he comes under a lot of pressure, always leaning back.
Paul Gallagher spent a lot of his recent career, although he would tell you he's a striker, filling in as a midfielder or part of a front three. He's withdrawn. This should signal more of the partnership that has been so successful for Leicester over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, they're certainly pleased to see him, aren't they?
Well, 2 goals, 1 in each half, both of a really high quality. Sigurdsson's delightful chip, and then the blast from Dyer. It's going to be a handball against Stephen Howard as he controlled that.
All of a sudden, with that goal, the course of the game, the momentum of the game, possibly changed. Brian McDermott just be keeping an eye on his young team over the next 10 minutes or so, see how they react to that goal.
Well, Howard felt he should have had something there. The referee not too impressed by his claims. Talk of injury and uncertainty about who was going to be fit to play certainly dominated the build-up for Reading. Hasn't been routine, but they belied that in the first half, and now they are starting to come under some sustained pressure. Ngessen. Berner. Mikel Antonio dispossessed. Here's Danny Ngessen. Dyer. Seeking Howard. Reading can repel borders for now.
Different feel to the whole match, isn't it? Completely different. Leicester now in the ascendancy.
54-46. There's a song in there somewhere, isn't there?
I think there is.
Ngessen.
Another good advantage by the referee there, you know.
Moreno will be as relieved as anyone to see the scoreline level after his involvement with Sigurdsson's first. Slightly overzealous by the substitute Friat. Well, the Walker Stadium has been one of those grounds for Reading. Unbeaten in their last 3 visits here, including that win last season. That involved late drama. Reading took the lead, they were pegged back and then got a last-minute penalty, which Gylfi Sigurdsson converted. Here's Kebe, who scored the first for Reading that day. Altered by LeMay, left in a heap as well. Fright. Well, he's lost out in a dangerous area as well. LeMay trying to shackle Kebe, but he's found Howard. Glanced on by Sigurdsson.
Clever, very clever effort that. Recognised the ball was slightly behind him. The keeper may be a little bit off his line. Just trying to dink that over the goalkeeper. Perfect trajectory. Just a shame for Reading. Didn't get it on target. He would have done the keeper.
Still young Gylfi Sigurdsson as well, and showing many of the hallmarks that would suggest he can cut it at a higher level. He's a classy operator, isn't he?
I think you only need to see his goal here tonight to see the quality that he has, the composure.
1 hour played, 1 goal apiece. Howard. Werner cuts it out. And Wellens with the freedom of the centre of the park just now. Dyer. A dip of the shoulder to take him beyond Cummings. Karachan.
You can see Leicester, when they weren't playing well in the first half, they recognised, get the ball to Lloyd Dyer. And he's going to make things happen for us. And they're still doing that. And it's a good call.
Friat. LeMay. That'll be a corner.
It's certainly a rearguard action now, isn't it, from Reading? We penned back in their own territory for large parts of the second half. Corners stacking up for Leicester. A notoriously good team from set pieces. Every set piece represents a danger to Reading.
Hobbs comes near post, didn't quite get the touch on. Potential break on here for Reading as well if Howard can get the ball right. Moreno got his head in the way. McAnuff. Mikel Antonio. Moreno protected.
I think the ball from Brian Howard was poor by his own high standards. There was a real opportunity of a break on there. A couple of quick boys ahead of him. Didn't find either of them.
Cem Karachan has been in the wars ever since he took a hefty straight arm across the face. The shiner on his right eye, a testament to that. And Simon Church, who was one of the many fitness doubts for Reading coming into this game, will come on. It's a midfielder off and a striker on, so it'll be interesting to see how they reorganise here.
Well, I was looking at that, and he's gone right up the top straight away, Simon Church. I wonder if they're going to play with 2 up there alongside Shane Long.
Well, Mikel Antonio has found space but hasn't found the back of the net.
The criticism is he hasn't found the target. I think Paulo Sousa will be having kittens if this had amounted to anything, because it's a long throw, helped on, helped inside, and all of a sudden the young man's in. He just doesn't hit the target. Lots of power.
Leicester will respond with a change of their own. Matt Oakley off. On comes Andy King. As we said earlier, a few raised eyebrows when Andy King, the young Welshman who's been in such good form for club and for country at the start of the season, recently got his first goal for Wales in their win against Luxembourg when he was left out. And now he comes on. A game changer up at Ellen Road he was. See what impact he has here, the young man.
Different kind of player to the skipper, isn't he? Lots of legs in him, looks to get beyond the strikers. That's why he scores a few goals from midfield.
Here's Nguessen. Away by the Reading captain Mills. Muscled out of the way by Wellens. He's certainly not fussy, Colin Webster, the referee, is he? Lets plenty go.
It's refreshing to see, isn't it? Highly rated, isn't he? League One playoff final.
Yep.
Millwall, Swindon. You don't get to do that unless you're not highly rated, do you?
Bryant. Well, Howard checked his run. Bryant didn't realise it.
He's going to want his team to end this run of draws, isn't it? Remember Ipswich getting off to a poor start last season, drawing too many games. Long periods of that campaign. They were in a relegation battle, weren't they, Ipswich?
Would be reading too much into the table to say that after 4 games you're going to be in any sort of trouble because you haven't got as many points as the others. But you look at the gap, if the scoreline stays like this, you're 8 points off the pace. That's 3 sides up there at the top. Queen's Park Rangers, Cardiff and Ipswich, who've all got 10. A 3-game swing after only 4 games.
Important tackle.
Yeah. Antonio. Across comes Hobbs. Another important tackle.
He did well because he anticipated what Markyle Antonio was going to try and do, go on the outside of his defensive partner. Gave the cover and paid dividends.
Wellens. Slid for Ngessen. Lovely ball in for Howard if he could make up the ground.
Well, as a striker, that's what you want from your wide players. As good as it gets, really. Whipped in between the goalkeeper and the defenders into that danger area, but just a little bit too much on it for Stephen Howard.
Howard. There's Hobbs. Wellens. Now Andy King. Still going, King into Bryant. Trying to feed Ngessen. McAnuff stood up to the challenge well.
They put a few passes together and they manipulated the ball into that area. Better passage from Leicester, that. He looks frustrated, doesn't he? Used to playing further up the pitch, having to play as an emergency right back when you've got all that attacking ability. Must be frustrating.
I was just going to say, it's the look of a man who is not altogether happy he's having to play at full-back.
Well, you've got to do it for the team. He is doing it.
Sigurdsson. Helped on by Long. Kebe. Kebe with the cutback, and it was read by LeMay. It's behind for a corner.
Again, another important interception. We've seen 2 or 3 of them from the Leicester defence in the last few minutes. Kebe does well. He's past Moreno pretty easily. He's just cutting that back to Simon Church. And LeMay does well.
Sigurdsson with the set piece, and Pearce couldn't get round the back.
Yes.
We mentioned how strong they were here last season. Leicester, only 4 sides came here and won. Preston, West Bromwich Albion, Bristol City and Reading, the last side to do it, although you'll probably remember that Cardiff came here and won that first leg of the playoff. after the regulation season had finished.
Cardiff come here again pretty soon as well, don't they?
They do indeed. After the international break, there's Kebe, the man from Mali. Sigurdsson, still Sigurdsson. He's found Kebe onside. Logan out quickly and out really well. Wrong to keep it alive here for Reading. And Mikel Antonio couldn't get anything on it.
Well, Leicester owe him a huge thanks, don't they? Conrad Logan not had an awful lot to do, to be truthful, but Kebe's onside, and you just think he's going to slot that into the back of the net, but Logan's out like a flash. I wonder whether he regrets just not lifting that ball now, Jimmy Kebe, the way Sigurdsson did when he scored, dinking it over the keeper, but let's credit the goalkeeper.
Howard, here's Fryatt. Well, the Leicester spell of pressure got them back into the match, got them level. It's now a little bit more open either way. Reading showing that they haven't come here to lie down.
It's just become all of a sudden a more open game, hasn't it? Leicester pushing for a winner, Reading trying to capitalise.
There's Mikel Antonio hitting it beyond Hobbs, but hitting it heavily. Super Sunday tomorrow kicks off live from the Reebok. Bolton against Birmingham tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Sky Sports HD1 and 1. And then keep it on the same channels for Aston Villa, knocked out of Europe in the week against Everton. That's from 3:30. A bit of a confusion between two of the summer arrivals here, LeMay and Moreno. Burner more part of the furniture. So the striker Howard, now Dyer. No doubt about it, a little bit of the early zest from this second half has gone from the Leicester play.
It's just given Reading a little bit more of a footing, hasn't it, in the game? A little bit more belief that maybe they can. It's on the counter-attack. Go up the other end and nick another goal.
Cummings. And Gesson. Burner not in a mood to make the run outside him, which would have made up in Gesson's mind for him. To settle for the corner.
Positive play, isn't it? Going to leave that of Lloyd Dyer's book, running at the defenders, trying to make things happen. Once again, it's another corner. I don't think anybody's sure who's going to take it either.
Well, Gallagher's been taking most of them from this side, but he's now gone, of course. So it'll be Wellens. Not a bad one either. Loose in the box, they're appealing for handball, still alive here, back in by Hobbs, and missed by everybody. Here's Wellens again. Dyer, good block, deflected.
A bit of pressure building up because Reading weren't able to clear the danger. The initial ball's fizzed in, isn't it? Evades everybody. It's held back in. Richie Wellens keeps it alive, picks out Dyer. Fair play to Joby McAnuff, the emergency right back. Comes out and gets the block in.
The Reading captain able to get it away at the near post. They could contemplate a counter-attack here. Really positive number of Reading players getting forward here. They're flooding forward.
Anything over, anything hit longer than that, and there were two not one, two Reading players at that far post, and look how open this game has got, really stretched.
Howard knew he was offside and couldn't attack it. Dyer will come.
Still great.
He arrived late, he still caused problems, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Fantastic. Been outstanding, Lloyd Dyer, hasn't he?
Well, the managers might not enjoy it, but if the remaining quarter of an hour's like this and as open as this, we could just be in for a bit of a treat. Here's King. Couldn't keep it in.
Oh, it's got really stretched, hasn't it? And part of that is down to the fact that Reading counter-attack at such pace. You know, when they do get the ball, they are prepared to risk and put numbers forward in search of this winning goal or next goal. And they'll be pleased with that.
Gesson, Howard, over the top by Wellens, and the flag goes up against Danny and Gesson.
The crowd having a bit of a moan, but we're right in line with that. He did go a little bit too soon. There we go. Again, McAnuff does well because he stops running, allows Gesson to stray offside.
1/4 of an hour to go. Still fair possibility that we may get a winner here, but Leicester fans are looking for a positive already. That barren spell without a goal in the league has finished. Reading need to find a way to do what they haven't done so far this season, and that's to score more than one goal. Referee Colin Webster immediately calling for treatment there.
I wonder if he's twisted his ankle, you know. He had a problem with it earlier on in the game, didn't he?
Yeah.
It didn't appear to be anything from Steve Howard, who he was marking. You can only imagine. Let's keep an eye on this. Lunges in. Nothing really conclusive. Maybe drags his left ankle along the ground, but not really sure.
Well, the referee was close, and he was immediately in action, calling across the medical staff from Reading. And so often we say it, Don, and so often we see it. You see something like that that looks innocuous, and it turns out to be the most worrying.
Yeah, it does, when there doesn't appear to be any contact from any of the opposition players. It can often be the worst kind of things, but once again he's up. This time a bit more of a limp to that walk off the pitch. And once again Reading will be hoping that everything's okay for him to continue.
Well, they're running out of defenders, aren't they?
Just makes you wonder whether he came into this game with a little bit of an ankle problem. That's twice now, isn't it?
I think Brian McDermott will be very pleased to come away from here with something. And certainly very pleased to have a couple of weeks to get a lot of his players patched up. An injury-ravaged start to the season for Reading, which hasn't helped any sort of continuity in terms of selection. McAnuff has lost out. Here's Fract. Howard!
Well, right behind that, we can see exactly what Steve Howard is trying to do. Just bend that ball into the far corner. Unfortunately for him, just leans back as the chance comes his way. It breaks nicely for him. And he's just leaning back on the strike. And that's the thing that just sends it high. Way over, really. Half a chance.
It's Frank Musa, a summer signing from Southend, who's going to come on in a moment. Looks like it's going to be Danny and Gesson to go off when the moment does come. In by Howard. King the first to get his head to it. Here's Wellens. And Dyer. Howard. Friat staying onside. Great burst forward from Dyer if Friat can pick him out. Friat will go himself.
One or two quizzical looks from his teammate about the merits of that decision. Clever movement from Matty Friat. He's always looking to get in behind, but once he does, he's got support from Dyer. He's got support coming in to the picture on the edge of the area from Andy King, but chooses to go it alone.
Interesting contrast there to the number of bodies getting forward for Leicester, as we see from the Reading break. Probably 3 or 4 more risking it for Reading. Friat. Wellens. Dyer. Going to let him have another go from distance after that super goal he scored. Dyer trying to get LeMay in behind. Kebe on the cover.
Sigurdsson in all kinds of space here.
Oh, Kebe with a super run.
Brilliant defending, but once again I've got to question Jimmy Kebe's wisdom in taking that all on his own when there were so many. I think he had 4 or 5 teammates up alongside him. Already done the hard part for me.
Oh, its flick has gone to Wellens, and that'll be offside against Friat.
He needs to get one of those right, doesn't he, Matty Friat? Plays on the shoulder of the last defender, looks to get in behind them. Invariably, he's going to stray offside a few times, but if he gets one right, that's when he gets his chance.
We saw one here, didn't we, in that playoff game when he got in one-on-one. Big moment in that match. So we have one decisive moment to come inside the last 10 minutes here. We certainly have a change, and it is the one that we speculated on a moment ago. Off goes Danny Nguessen. And on comes Frank Moussa. Former Belgian youth international. Played in the Championship before with Southend during their relegation season. Moreno got that wrong, but the referee felt he was edged out.
Lloyd Dyer's come over to this left-hand side now. Of course, he's in direct opposition to Joby McAnuff. Leicester really need to get the ball out to him, let him have a run at the makeshift fullback.
Howard. A little dink from King, who wants the return. Moussa. King. Now Dyer! Oh, super save! Top class from Adam Federici.
Well, I think everybody in this stadium thought that was 2-1 Leicester. Everybody, that is, except Adam Federici, because that is absolutely superb goalkeeping. A brilliant save.
Well, he cost his side the win last week with his mistake. He might just have saved them a point here. Moussa. Church. Looked risky just for a second from Logan.
Well, he had to get it right, and he did. Like you said, maybe at fault last week in conceding a goal, but needs to take a bow here because this is an absolutely top-class save. Full stretch. It's flying right in the corner. And that is, I don't say it reluctantly, it's world-class goalkeeping, that.
Well, he didn't play at the World Cup, but he went to the World Cup as a backup for Australia. Dyer only got 3 league goals the whole of last season. He's almost wheeling away in celebration for his second of the second half here. Long has Church in the middle, also has a run from Antonio, who's got there ahead of Logan. Bailed out by Moreno.
Well, the keeper held his hand up as he sprinted back to his goal there. Started to come. He's never getting there, was he? Moreno, apart from the mistake, you know, he's had a decent game, hasn't he? Composed player.
He'll spend his whole career in Portuguese football, whether it be in the top tier there or a little bit at lower levels. He'll learn quickly that you don't get that much time on the ball in the N-Power Championship.
He's got more defending to do here. Both teams, to be fair, and to their credit, searching for the victory here.
Both of them, of course, for both of them, it would be a first of the season. Clipped in tidily and powered home. Yet again in the goals, the Reading captain. 2 last time out, ended in defeat. That could just be the winner here for Matt Mills and Reading.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that ankle now, is there? That is a prodigious leap. He absolutely sails through the air in attacking this. And once he gets up above everybody, he's able to control the header and keep it down under the bar. All too often, you see this kind of a header sail over, but he powers it in. It goes straight over the head of Conrad Logan in the goal, but he is not at fault. The power in that header has beaten everybody. We said they got a good record on this ground.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating itself. The last side to win a league game here, 1-2-1 with a goal in the closing stages. Bit more time this afternoon for Leicester to reply. Fry very nearly, Dyer close. Howard! Oh, amazing! Mills at one end and Mills at the other.
Wow. Wow, if they hang on to win this match, that's the moment right there. Played a captain's role, isn't he? Had an eventful afternoon, hasn't he, Matt Mills?
The script from Mills and Boone.
No comment.
Here's Dyer. Still going, Dyer. Now Howard. They just can't find a way through. Well, that Mills goal line clearance and that Federici save, 2 moments of real defensive quality from Reading, just as important as that powered header from the Reading captain.
Well, he may well be having his hands on his knees and catching his breath, because he's been in the action at both ends here. And for all the world, to Steve Howard, isn't it, who comes in on this, but look at his reaction. He jumps over the player on the ground to get himself between the sticks, and the ball comes his way, throws his head at it and gets it away. He'll be thinking he should have scored. Take nothing away from the defending.
"66 seconds after his captain put him ahead. He kept him ahead in sensational style. Maybe Brian McDermott, who was saying coming into this game that they've been punished for every mistake they've made thus far this season. We'll see his side turn the tide here at the Walker Stadium. Or will they? Fry might have something to say about it. He's got support. And Howard overhit it.
Well, it was fired at him very quickly in his defence.
May even have been intended for King behind him.
Yep, possibly. Well, he's got a history of draws against Reading, hasn't he, Paulo Sousa, in his 3 games against them. He'd take a draw now, wouldn't he?
Well, sometimes they say you find out about yourself in adversity, and Reading, with all their fitness problems, to very much patch up the side. This man, Joby McAnuff, their attacking winger, is playing at fullback. It's bare-bones stuff from them. It's back-to-the-wall stuff. And they have shown that they possess the character which categorised the second half of last season for them.
It was back-to-the-wall stuff, wasn't it? But what they did show was that they were prepared to go for that winner. Every time they defended that the ball broke their way, they threw bodies forward in great numbers at great pace. They weren't able to capitalise on that, but how often do you see it? A set piece. A set piece has come up trumps for Reading.
Mills catches another painful one on the ankle.
And Steve Howe's got a yellow card for that display of frustration. He goes in, he catches Mills on the top of the foot, a little bit late. But it's his reaction. I think it's his dissent at the decision rather than the tackle that has caused him to see that yellow card.
Well, there's still time for Leicester. Still time for one final twist. 4 added minutes. Marino away. The tenacity from Long. But Reading have sold themselves short. Dyer. Wellens. Musa for Bruno Berner. Again it's Mills.
Well, he's everywhere at the moment, isn't he? Matthew Mills. It is a story.
Well, it's been a slow burner, this one, hasn't it? Reading played well in the first half. Here's Fryer, nearly got in behind Mills. The referee takes a look across at his assistant, seeing if there was any case to answer for anything more than a corner.
Well, he doesn't even appeal, Matty Fryer. There's a tiny little nick on the ball, ever so tiny, a bit of a coming together, but you don't get penalties for that. Matt Fryer didn't even appeal for it.
Dyer. Lame's header blocked away. Tries to keep it alive. Howard! Scrambled away. All hands on deck for Reading, but they survive.
Well, sometimes you just know when it's not going to be your day. They won't give up, Leicester. They'll keep throwing the kitchen sink at Reading.
On by Howard Fryer. Tried the overhand. King!
Whistle's gone.
The referee rules it out. Cut short the celebrations.
Well, he's given a foul. And right on cue, I was just saying it wasn't going to be Leicester's day, was I? This is why he's just given a foul for that. He deems that Fryer brings Matty Mills down, I think. And then does McAnuff get a little shove? I mean, that's just upper body strength. I don't see any sort of nudge in that. So if it is for the second incident, I think it's harsh. Things just not going Leicester's way. There was an almighty scramble just before that. From about a yard out, just needed a touch from a Leicester player, but they'll keep going.
They've still got just over a minute as well. The Reading, who bemoaned their lack of luck in their opening league fixtures, certainly enjoying a fair slice of it here.
Well, they have. I just wonder whether he's resigned now. Everything has conspired against him, really. I mean, I wouldn't have been happy with the first half performance, but his boys have shown a lot of character in the second half. They've pushed the game, taken the game to Reading, got themselves level, and looked for all the world that if there was going to be a winner, it was going to be them.
Dyer should be able to collect this one for Leicester. Trying to get beyond Joby McAnuff. Like a game of Twister down there between the pair.
Well, that's got to be it. Everybody forward. Conrad Logan will launch this ball towards the Reading penalty area. Really his last throw of the dice.
One last Leicester chance. Logan forward. Howard on. Away by Cummings. Into the 5th minute of added time.
And Matt Mills, the Reading skipper, look, he's talking, he's saying, where's this time coming from? They want the whistle desperately, Reading.
Up and under from Moreno. Everyone in blue has missed it. And that is a fabulous, fabulous away win for Reading. Their captain at the forefront of providing them with the first win of the season, not only scoring the decisive goal, but preventing a Leicester equaliser. Up and running in sensational style with their first win of the season. Adam Federici as well with a wonderful save to deny Lloyd Dyer a second. The first half had largely belonged to Reading as well. Gylfi Sigurdsson with a classily chipped goal. Then a response as Lloyd Dyer early in the second half signalled Leicester's fight back. But just when Leicester looked like they would push forward and win it, Mills got the winner. Now let's hear from the man of the moment. He's down with Greg.
Well, many congratulations. The first win, your late winner, one off the line to boot. Sum up your emotions at this point, would you?
That's a massive 3 points for us. You know, we've come close in a lot of games this season, and we deserve that bit of luck today.
You look like you might not even finish the game today. What happened?
I sprained my ankle about 2 weeks ago, and we're down to the bare bones at the minute, so it was a case of just getting out there and getting through the game.
Just tell us finally what this result can do for your season now.
This kick-starts us, you know. We've been waiting for that first win. All the boys have been positive all week, and we deserve that. We could crack on now for the rest of the season.
Many congratulations. You're the Empire man of the match, Matt. Well done.
Cheers, thank you.
Not too much doubt either, was there, when you consider his contribution at the end of that game. Had a terrific game up to that point, then that vital goal, his third in a week for Reading. And perhaps even more vital, the clearance off the line when it looked like Steve Howard had snatched a point for Leicester City. That's what his manager thinks of it as well, Brian McDermott, who told us before the game results have been much better. Results hadn't been as good as performances so far, but now they have their just rewards. And it moves them right up the Empire Championship. They are top of the bottom in 13th place. It doesn't look good, though, for Leicester City, does it? Paulo Sousa had a slow start with Swansea City last season, and so it is again with his new charges, Leicester. Just 1 point from their 4 games so far, tied with Portsmouth at the foot. La Liga starts tonight with Malaga-Valencia. That is right now, Sky Sports HD 1 and 1. And Levante Sevilla follows it at 9, Sky Sports HD 1 and 1. And of course, you can keep up to date with everything on Sky Sports HD with your iPad, your iPhone and your laptop. skysports.com/anywhere for more information on that. Peter Big agrees with this. His thoughts in just a moment on what we've seen here. Reading's first win of the season, courtesy of that man, Matt Mills. Match-winning performance from him at both ends. Well, here at the Walker Stadium, both teams were looking for their first win of the season. Gylfi Sigurdsson gave Reading the half-time lead, equalised by Lloyd Dyer before Matt Mills' late intervention, the winner. And then that crucial clearance off the line when Steve Howard thought he'd scored. Leicester, though, still had time to have one chalked off. But why? That's the big question. How big a win is this for Reading, Peter?
Yeah, massive, and it was a fantastic away performance, Dave. You know, the way they were set up and everything, full of pace and athleticism. Even when, you know, the full-back went off, McAnuff went in there and did a job for the team. And Antonio came on and gave him a bit of width on the right-hand side. Kebby on the other. Every time they overturned possession, they got bodies forward, so it's a great win for Brian McDermott's side. A
good team effort, but what about the individual contribution of Matt Mills today?
Yeah, he was here, there and everywhere, wasn't he? It was a fantastic performance, and it's a cracking header. You know, he just loses his marker there, and I think it's Moreno, and you've got Howard in front of him as well. But you know, he draws the neck muscles back there, and
he's third in a week as well. Maybe he thought it was coming.
Rich Vayner form. Well, he'd be believing that it was going to come to him, and the way that he attacked it, you know, and as I say, the finish was superb. Past the keeper before he could move.
But they knew the job wasn't done at that stage.
Yeah, and we got a bit of the Leicester of last year, didn't we? You know, a higher tempo, putting the ball in the box at every opportunity, and getting the wide men in there as well. And I think the manager would have wanted that from the start, really. But they were terrific. Matty Fry came on and made a you know, a good partnership up there. But this is a fantastic.
He's so
clearance.
aware, isn't he, Mills?
It is. It's, you know, it's the responsibilities of being captain, being a defender there, you know, sensing the danger, anticipating it, and getting across and making a great clearance. And as I say, he was out on the feet there, you know, struggling with an ankle problem as well. So tremendous. But look at the bodies that Reading have got in there. And Federici, you know, he was tremendous in them last minutes of the game as well. When you get past the defenders who've been great, you want your keeper to be on form, and he was.
And I had one ruled out as well for a foul. We'll have another look at that shortly. But we can now hear from the Leicester manager, Paulo Sousa, with Greg Whelan.
Paulo, commiserations to concede so late in the game. How tough is this result to take?
It's always tough when we lose. But proud for the commitment for my players. They try to do it everything. Of course, we are in a momentum. Every mistake we do it in the game, we concede the goal. We need to be much more clinical in all chances we have to score, because you know it makes the difference. It makes the difference. It brings confidence and convictions in everything what we do it. But the main thing, it's I feel very proud for the commitment for my players. They do it everything today to win the game. They deserve that. But once more, probably this break is coming well for us, because we can settle our minds and also correct certain things to be stronger.
You made a slow start, if you recall, at Swansea last season. How big a concern is this start without a win for you at this stage?
It's always a concern for us, because we can't forget our jobs. It's make our fans and our club proud, and we always looking for win. But I'm always very positive person and manager. We know it when we change things. When we started to introduce certain players, also different, and we go to add some players till the end of the transfer, hopefully. And but everything it's working very hard. Keep believe in our way, because in the end, when this momentum goes away and we come the positive part, winning games, then everything coming more clear for everyone.
Paulo, thanks for your time.
Thanks, thank you.
Just about turning the tide then, according to Paulo. So let's have a look then, Peter, at the one that was ruled out for a foul. What did you see wrong here?
Yeah, I just saw Andy King as, I think it might be Antonio that gets underneath the ball, or Joby McAnuff it is actually. He just loses the flight, but there's a little push with the elbow in the back. And in actual fact, if Andy King hadn't pushed him, the ball was going to beat him. Anyway, we can just see there a little nudge. And in actual fact, the referee gesticulated that when McAnuff, you know, King questioned him, and he made a movement with his elbow there. Just that little shove there. Yeah, that's a better view of it, and he's in the perfect position. I must admit, the referee had a fantastic game. You know, particularly second half, when there was a few more tackles flying in and everything like that. Tried to keep his card in his pocket, but he was spot on. Positional sense was tremendous today.
Do you still think that we could see both these two in the top half?
Well, yeah, you know, I fully envisaged them being round about the 9th and the 12th position. I didn't think they'd, you know, have as good a season as last year, Leicester, because we've seen teams come up on the wave of optimism, get near the playoffs, and then they fall off a little bit the next season. But he's going to bring some new bodies in, and it's easier to try and justify the players that you've got in there when you've got 3 points, and it's difficult when you haven't. So there you go.
Yep, Reading are up and running, and today they have left Leicester in a right royal mess. Bye-bye.